This is Mia, aka CreaseSinger, again. I'm still working on trying to get live, which is the main purpose of all of this, but I'm putting up videos because they correlate with some things on my Twitter account, at CreaseSinger, and they also correlate with things on my blog or website, which is singingfromthecrease.wordpress.com. So basically, I'm going to go through a couple of things, but the first one is I have a new situation going on with my blog, and it's called A Post for All Occasions. And the basic gist of it is when I run across someone online, in particular online, because I run across a lot online, I have to tell you. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, and some of it's just plain abominable. Okay? And I've suffered quite a few attacks over the years, particularly once I got a Twitter account. So I did jump off Twitter for a little while. I had to take care of some very serious family business and a very serious illness. So it looks like I joined Twitter in 2013, but I didn't. I joined much earlier than that. I just shut down that Twitter account because I needed to concentrate on a few things that were of great importance. So this is going to be a part of a post for all occasions, and I'm going to say my brothers and sisters in Christ are not so great, actually. God, okay, I talk to God, admittedly. There is a way to prove God, by the way. And anybody who wants to come at me with evolution, bring it on. I studied evolution from the time I was a wee little kid all the way up till now. I know about Dawkins. I know about Goulding. I know about E.O. Wilson. I know all about it. And I understand that perspective. So some might argue that both could be the case, and I have had a few people who believe in God say that, and I've had a few scientists who believe in a higher power say that. Anyone who wants to come at me with a "that's just stupid" or "that's ridiculous," well, you won't get very far with me. I'll ignore you or shut you down. Eventually, I will block you. I do not get in the habit of blocking people. I will keep people on my Twitter. I'll keep people on my private Twitter. I'll keep people on my blog. I'll keep people on my private blog. And I will be keeping people on YouTube. So it would take a great deal for me to completely block you and ban you. But those are not intelligent arguments. I like intelligent conversation and intelligent chat, no matter the subject. There are some subjects that I pretty much have to let you lead because I really don't know. And some subjects, yeah, I can hold my own in quite a few. Now, one of those subjects happens to be ice hockey, and most particularly male competitive ice hockey. And most particularly goaltenders and coaches. I'm a goalie tracker and a coach tracker. So congratulations to the National Hockey League. They now have 32 teams. I'd like to welcome in the Seattle Kraken. Kraken. Now that's a great name. Come on, everybody. Wouldn't you want to play for a team called Kraken? I mean, it just go, release the Kraken, and, suddenly your hockey team gets run over by weird angry dudes. I don't know, but I love it. The Kraken. So there's 32 games, or 32 teams in the National Hockey League right now, and the two newest were the Las Vegas Golden Knights and the Seattle Kraken. So that's pretty awesome. I've been a proponent of growing the game for a long time. I try and do grassroots where I live. And I don't know. I advocate for ice hockey wherever I go. I live in a country where people think that the big three sports are American football, baseball, and the NBA or NASCAR, which I do like the driving. You know, I'm a rally car enthusiast and indie. But yeah, I mean, I can get into some of that. It's just ice hockey is often a second thought in the places I've been. So there's been one nutty, crazy woman who refuses to be a fan of anything else because I just love ice hockey. And I've gone through all kinds of things to try and watch ice hockey, play ice hockey, talk to people who are involved in ice hockey. You know, I don't consider myself a fan anymore. I consider myself a hockey lover. So I guess that kind of differentiates me from some people because, you know, I see, you know, what each team on ice playing against each other does well and then doesn't do well. And I can read benches pretty well. So, you know, there's a lot to appreciate when it comes to what both teams playing against each other in any particular game have to contribute. But more recently, what I've decided to do is view ice hockey as such. Goalies versus skaters. Okay? So for anybody who doesn't know about ice hockey, there's a goalie on each team and 5 skaters on each team. So there's 6 people on ice. Sometimes there's more, or sometimes there's more or less depending on what the game situation is. But that's the standard rule. So now I'm just watching the 2 goalies do their goalie thing when I watch an ice hockey game. And a bunch of skaters get very frustrated, which makes my little goalie heart sing joyous little songs. So I do view ice hockey a little bit differently from other people in that respect because it's just fun for me that way. And I learn a lot that way, looking at something from a different perspective in that way, because I've looked at the game where, you know, one season I concentrated on what was happening in the right corner, and one season I concentrated on what was happening at face-off, so one season I concentrated on what was happening behind the net, and so on and so forth. So, you know, nowadays I just prefer I look at the game as goalies versus shooters, skaters. So I will discuss one goalie, an up-and-comer. That will be a part of my conversations about net minding in the male professional and semi-pro arena. I might mention a female here and there because there's a few worth mentioning, you know. And yes, females have a pro ice hockey league. Did you know that? Well, you should know that. All right. But I got the chance to see Connor Hellebuck shortly before he was drafted by the Winnipeg Jets. So if anybody hears me talking about the Jets, I'm not talking about the football team. No. I'm never talking about the football team. Ever. That is never the case. Ever, never. So yeah, Connor Hellebuck. And, you know, I was rooting for him, and I was hoping that the coaches and staff, those dealing with him up there in Canada, were aware of the kind of very harsh press that sometimes the Canadians can put out. There are times when it's almost beyond belief, sometimes, the press. You know, sometimes I think you should lighten up on your own, but it's very difficult for a young netminder, especially in Canada. I mean, it's ridiculously difficult. So, you know, I paid attention to what head coach Paul Maurice, or Pomo, whichever you like, Maurice, coach, whatever, was saying Connor's, you know, first year or so in, and how it seemed like he was handling the goalies and how the goalies seemed like they were being handled. And I'm, glad that Connor was handled the way he was handled. So I think because of that and the efforts made to be gentle and to cover him, when he needed, and put a little goalie wing over him and have some people helping him transition into the National Hockey League, was very helpful. So I'm expecting good things with Connor Hellebuyck for sure. I mean, I'm seeing, full ice hockey career. And sometimes I'd like to say, well, barring any injuries, but I don't know if it's jinxy or not. I mean, right? It depends on who you're talking to and what team you're talking about. I don't jinx anything. Well, then fine, I won't say a word, ever. I'll just sit silently and never say a thing, and that way I can't possibly jinx anybody now, can I? And then the other goalie, hats off to one Mr. Henrik Lundqvist. Some people call him the King. I don't. I've called him many nicknames over the years, but I finally settled on Henrico Suave. Now, come on. Take a look. Take a look at Hank and his metrosexualness. You understand? Right, off ice. Henrico Suave. Come on. That's a good one. So he's Henrico Suave to me. Or just plain Hank, right? Recently played his 10,000th NHL game, which is quite a milestone. So, so far he's had a decent career. I know, no cup, or not, we don't talk about that, and we don't touch Hank before games. Oh, that would be bad. You let him drink a beer and listen to whatever he's listening to, Blink 182. I mean, don't bother Hank. If he's doing his nails pre-game, just let him be, you know what I'm saying? Right. So my greatest admiration when it comes to Henrik Lundqvist and his goaltending is he is one of the best in-game adjusters I've ever seen, and I've seen many. He is exemplary at reading a game, and he does spend a lot of time back in his net, but he knows when to come out a little. He knows when to go a little right. He knows when to go a little left. He knows when to take a risk, and he knows when not to. It's like calculated in his brain. He knows the game. He can read the game, and so he knows when one team has the mo, and he knows when his team is struggling, and he knows, where the shots are generally going to go, no matter who's shooting. It's not like he can stop them all, because no goalie can stop them all, right? But he knows how to adjust his game in game, and you can tell that he does. Hank, over the years, I call him a hermit crab, kind of. Hank the hermit crab goalie, because he's got these rounded movements. Like, if you really watch, he's got very rounded movements, and he sits low with really rounded movements. And when he's back in his net, it looks like he's like a hermit crab sticking his back end into a shell. So if you've ever seen a hermit crab stick the back end into the shell, like the net is like his shell, and he sticks his back end into the shell and just looks around with his little claw. Right? See, there's a big claw on the goalies too. If you look, right, you can tell what I'm talking about. And those rounded movements, I think, are very unique in the National Hockey League, and I think they serve him well. So, when he comes out of the net, it's like, oh, Hank, you're naked. Oh, get back in the net, Hank. You're naked without your shell on. If I saw Henrik Lundqvist on the street, I might not recognize him without his, post net on him. I might not. But those are two goalies that I'm going to mention, and this is the first of a few hockey and goalie-oriented posts I'm going to put up. My post will be wide and varied because I have wide and varied interests, but hockey's going to be in there one way or the other, and particularly goalies. And, sometimes I feel the need to speak up because not only am I naturally born goalie, but I played in the net in more than one different sport with both males and females. So both co-ed and just a male team and just a female team. I know a lot about that position, and I've been studying the National Hockey League since I was about 8 years old, at least, maybe even earlier. So my knowledge of the game is pretty intense. I'm pretty intense when I study something. It's an intense experience. So there's some reasons why I'm single. I mean, the fiance died, and I get it. But this is one of the first videos I'm going to put up on my YouTube channel, which should be called the CreaseSinger channel. If it's not, I have to change it. So I'm still working on trying to figure out how to get live using encoding on Streamlabs. So I think I figured it out. I'm going to test it out later today, but I have another few videos to make. So for now, I will see you. And don't forget, anytime you want to make a comment, please feel free. Any topic of conversation you want to discuss, no matter what it is, if I'm, can do that for live chats or give my thoughts, and, people can comment underneath if I'm, not doing live. I'm pretty much up for anything. So try and be respectful, and God bless.